How the heck are you guys? I am Fastidious. You can call me Fasti, and welcome to my guide for Sharon at Inferno difficulty. Though you could copy this for any of the lower difficulties, we're really keying in on Inferno. This is my least favorite PvE content in all of Etheria Restart, full stop. I don't think it's interesting. I don't think it's that thoughtful. I don't think it's fun. So I'm going to make this guide as short as I can make it, short and sweet, because I just want to give you the information, and then I want to be done with this. I really do. And I think you'll understand why when you see it. But basically, the way Sharon works is you cannot debuff her, which is, I think, a little boring. I guess it's unique because that's kind of one of the only place I can think of in the game where you just cannot debuff someone at all. You cannot debuff her, and then her, along with her adds, the mobs that are to the side of her, will constantly be dispelling buffs from you, being real pests. They're going to push back your turn meter, delay your action, all that stuff, and you just got to deal with it. So you can kind of put two and two together. You're going to need some form of immunity, but it also doesn't matter that much because they probably will strip it off. You're going to need a lot of damage, and you're going to need some extra way to deal more damage. So that comes with a constant supply of buffing, and then a unit like Lily. Lily, you could also potentially use Nell if you have very good gear, and you have higher end DPS anima than what I'm going to show you here. But all in all, you just got to bruise through it and not die, and that's what I'm going to teach you how to do. So let's hop into Sharon. The comp I am going to highlight here, you can see I farmed this at 2-star. That will change once I make this guide, but I've been sticking with my original clear for as long as possible so I could show it off authentically in this guide. And basically what we're doing is building a lot of support around Diting, who is going to single target nuke Sharon into the turf. My Diting isn't a pretty good build, but it is not a special build. If you have a very good build, you can do this a lot faster. You can actually 3-star it with the comp I'm going to show you. My Diting just needs one more round of damage to take her out. So it's very likely you can already beat this 4 3-stars with this exact comp. But the point of this comp, and I will give Animus swap and substitution and suggestions, the point of this is not the best comp, it's not the fastest comp, it's the easiest comp. I did a lot of work on Sharon across a couple of accounts, and I think this is the most accessible way to beat it. That doesn't mean it's like the smoothest or the best, but it's the lowest gear requirement, and you only need Diting. So there are way cooler versions with Yelly and Lilium and stuff like that. That is not this video. Additionally, only Diting needs to be 6 stars. You will see my Fuqiu is 6 stars, and that's just because I use her all the time in PvP. So I had to 6-star her, but when I originally cleared this, she was 5 stars, I promise. And then Ninfoniel and Lily, who are the real keys, especially Ninfoniel, they're at 5 stars. I will say they're both phenomenal, so if you are planning to 6-star them, just do it. I've only left them at 5 stars just to show that it can be done. And please take my word with Fuqiu. She's affinity neutral. She does not need to be 5 stars. She doesn't need any extra speed or tankiness. She is A-OK. I'll quickly now click on the builds if anyone wants to have a look. I don't think we need to do the deepest dive ever into everything. If you have any specific questions, let me know below. But I'm thinking we can just click through everything and you can get a general sense. You can see with my Fuqiu, I'm just building her for the right speed range, which I will explain in 1 second, and then a good amount of tankiness. Her shields are going to scale off of her HP. It's kind of as simple as that. We do need her to be faster than Sharon and the adds. So for that reason, she needs to be a little bit fast. I believe the number is about 240 speed. You can see I've got her here at 248. It works very well. I suggest you do the same. You also do not need to run Fuqiu at all. You can run a second DPSer, especially if your Ninfoniel is 6 stars. Mine isn't, and because she is weak affinity as an odd unit, while Sharon is a hollow unit, Sharon deals double damage in this fight against her, so I actually kind of need Fuqiu here to keep her alive. But what you can do is have her at 6 stars and you'll be in a lot better shape. She's also a lot stronger for this fight than she used to be because she has her cleansing now from the most recent patch. That was a great buff that she got. Or what you could do if you got a ton of DPS, if you have a Yelly and a Lilium, or you want to run Lilium and a Diting, something like that, a Yelly and a Diting, and you've got good gear, you could just run Valerian instead of Ninfoniel, leave Fuqiu at home, do the double DPS. Very likely still bring Lily though, because Lily is like, I don't think you could say she's required for this fight, but she nearly is, and I think that sucks, but it is what it is. You basically need to deal as much damage as quickly as possible, and you're kind of capped at how much you're capable of doing since you cannot debuff. So you need someone like Lily to do the full cooldown resets, to do the turn meter push, to place the twin trick and guarantee you all those ally assist attacks from your best DPS. So she's kind of needed. But as for the DPS, you can solo DPS it, bring 2 supports along with the Lily, or you can double DPS it and bring 1 support. I would suggest if you do the 1 support, do Ninfoniel and Valerian, or just do what I'm doing here. And again, I'm doing this just to make it as smooth as possible. In place of Fuqiu, you could totally run any number of good healers. You know, Chalky would be a very, very good choice. The SR Chalky. Sonya would work fairly well. You just want a little extra support to make sure Ninfoniel doesn't die. But again, finally, the last time, not to be a broken record, if she's 6-star and you have good gear, she's not going to die if you do it right. But that's basically it with Fuqiu. Tanky, speed, you want her in that sweet spot range. She can be faster. She just doesn't need to be, so that's why I went on the lower end. I also like the Codex just so I can double up on her ult, keep those shields going an extra turn, keep the increased speed going an extra turn, make sure the Moonlit Veil is out. I will say with the shields and the speed, those can be dispelled by the ads at any time, and it's pretty annoying. If we go to Diting now, you'll see he's in a Fury Keen Eye Fury Edge build. This would be a really fast run, maybe about 50 or 55 seconds, if my Diting was 5 out of 5 on prowess. You can see I've only pulled 4 dupes, or if instead of Keen Eye I had something like Momentum, but we're making do, and it's certainly good enough. These are the total stats. I'll click through the pieces now. It's a good build, but it's not a special build at all. My gear is not so great. Hopefully it will get better soon. That's what we're working with. For the right side, if you can, I do crit damage, crit rate. I actually had to do 2 attack bonus main stats though with this Fury Edge piece and with this Insight. I was pretty limited on crit damage main stat. Obviously, you definitely want 1 crit rate main stat for Diting. It's a good double dip. We end up with a pretty fine build, and the crit damage is in a fine place, but you can do better. That's what I'm trying to say. But that's what we're working with. He doesn't need to be too fast either because he's at risk to be pushed back at all times anyway, and he's going to keep getting pushed up by Lily. So don't worry about speed. For Ninfoniel, you really want her as tanky as possible. This is a little light on the defense. It would be a lot easier if she was 6 stars, but you want the HP high as well. That's how we're going to get her nice shields. And the reason I really like her is she's giving the normal attack boost and also the attack boost she gives through her shield, which is the Rimebloom boost. And I do recommend bringing this to level 3 if you have the lattices to do so, and if you also plan to use her in some PvP. That being said, if you've got good enough gear, you can rock her without this and just have the smaller attack boost, right? But I think having it to 40% on top of the normal 40% attack boost is very, very powerful. All her other skills are level 1, and I should say Fuqiu, she has all her skills at level 1. If we go now to the speed of Ninfoniel, this actually is kind of tight. You don't want her to be too fast. You want her to go after Sharon because you don't want her to put out the Rimebloom, then Sharon goes, and then some of that can be dispelled. It already has chances to be from the ads, so you want to limit those opportunities. So there's like a window between when Sharon goes and when the ads go, when these little 2 flower guys on the side go. That's when you want to squeeze in Ninfoniel. I've got her at 229. That's a really good spot to be. I think anywhere between about 220 and the low 230s is going to be good. You'll be slower than Sharon, but faster than these guys. And then finally for Lily, she's never at such risk. If you can get her a little tanky, do it. You can see though, I've kind of neglected that there. The really key thing is just get her as fast as you can. I am putting her in an artisan. It just makes the runs a little more reliable. If you're wondering, these runs are at about an 80 to 90% success rate. Usually I do my 8 runs and I tend to fail about once. Sometimes I go 8-0, sometimes 6-2. It's usually 7-1. The skill ups for Lily, I just have her S1 maxed, nothing else yet. And yeah, we did a pretty basic build. The strive here is only a +4 strive. It's not a +8. We are just using that to make the artisan shields a little bit better. And then the final note about the shell is I originally had her in a gigabyte and she was so much faster than Diting and she kept getting all those gigabyte triggers that she was outpacing him in an inappropriate way. So we actually weren't getting 2 double ults at the beginning like you want to see. So that's pretty important. Now let's go into the run, and I think it will all make sense pretty quickly. The one thing to note is with those dispels, unless you're going to build resistance on Diting, and even then it'd be a crapshoot, so of course you're not going to do that. A lot of the time he loses his Rimebloom and his attack the first round. That's why it's really good to run Ninfoniel in the Codex just to make sure that goes right back on, and then you should be pretty good. So let's hop into the battle. We lead with the Lily. She puts on increased speed on everybody. And then she's putting the twin trick on Diting. We get more increased speed that we don't need from Fuqiu. But the main thing is she puts out the Moonlit Veil on herself so she can support everyone else. And then she does the shields. Sharon just went, knocked our shields off. But then we get Ninfoniel coming after, in between. And she's putting on the Rimebloom and the increased attack. And you can see we got pretty lucky there. Diting was not pushed back by Sharon. So he, with this tuning, he's at like 170, 180 speed. I can show you again after this. He is able, when he doesn't get pushed back, to go before the ad, so he can't get stripped off. That's really nice. Then just for safe measure, we get the Codex action of the ultimate again from Fuqiu. You see Diting's ulting again. That's because Lily then used her S3, which reset him, which was great. He's our twin trick guy. And I do want to also say one thing we missed is Ninfoniel had the Codex and did it again as well, just in case stuff was getting stripped off by the ads and we were getting buffs dispelled. This way we could make sure we get a Rimebloom, a shield from that, increased attack from that, and then the standard increased attack back on. We're getting hammered here. They put out a lot of dots. That's the other thing. That's why you want some amount of immunity. And it's really hard to be 100% on this run because all you can do is kind of hope you don't get your immunity stripped off. And unfortunately, we did have that happen here. So of course, this run's going to fall apart, as it has to do on your initial demonstration. But do not worry, that will not happen twice in a row. Let's just run it back and let's see. Everything's on. Good. If you want to see that Diting speed, he's coming in at 178. So always focus in on the boss so you don't have to deal with the ads. We get the Fuqiu shields, and she puts the Moonlit Veil on herself. Here comes Sharon. And she did some action delay there. She did some dots. She did push Diting back, so now he's behind the ads. That's what we're used to. We get the Rimebloom there and the increased attack. Both of those stayed on Diting, so now he's going to come with the big hit. Pretty solid. Now Lily's going to come with the S3, and she's going to get the reset on Diting and push him up a little bit. So there he goes. If you could get him a little faster, it could help, because then there he might go in front of Sharon. But there is a lot of RNG based on when you're getting pushed back and not. So I wouldn't stress too much about it. We go in there again with the repeat S3 from Ninfoniel. So now Diting goes again. There's some big damage. He had the Rimebloom and the increased attack. It was there from before, but the replay from Sharon made sure it stayed there. Now we get all these follow-up attacks. When Lily does her S1, we get the twin trick assist. And we're kind of settling in. We chip away with Diting. And unless something goes really bad, like that first run where just we lose all our immunity, and already by the last run, right, all those dots were already stacked up, we're kind of just in too tight a spot, and he can die. But if he doesn't die, he gets all these assists, and if he even needs it, he'll cycle back one more, and he can finish off with the ult for a third time. A lot of people with good gear, and especially if you run double DPS, will only need to do the 2 ults. For me, I have to do the 3. And I assume for a lot of you, if you're stuck on this and you're watching this video, you probably need the 3 too. That's basically the whole thing. So if you want any specific concerns addressed, if you have any, questions that you don't feel like I answered, just ask below. This won't be the most popular video, so I can answer very, very, very easily. I promise I'll check every single comment. I really want to make sure people can get this done. I know I'm not as positive as I normally am. It's just, honestly, I do not like Sharon. I've done a good amount of Sharon takeovers. I hate doing it on my own account. I mean, look, even there, Diting got 3 dots that time and got fully stripped off, lost his immunity, lost his Rimebloom, lost his increased attack. There's just not enough rhyme or reason to it. I am glad we're doing it again, so you get to see why we've got the Codex on Ninfoniel, because now we actually did need that replaced. We weren't lucky like the second round. So here, we get the double up on the shield from Fuqiu, and now when Diting comes in, he gets those big hits because we made sure we had the increased attack, and we made sure we had the bonus increased attack from the Rimebloom. But you can kind of see it. Like, speed tuning is important. That's why I point out the speeds. But unlike other content, because of all the pushback, because of all the RNG, because of all the potential dispel of different speed buffs and immunities and stuff like that, you can only control for so much. So unless you have a ton of DPS, ton of good gear, and you're doubling it, and you know you're going to be in good shape, I don't think it's the kind of content a standard player, until they're far deeper in the game, can farm at 100%. At least the way I like to do it. Here we got with Lily. She gets a follow-up. Unless we get really unlucky with Diting here, we should be good. Let's see what the dot action is. It's 4, and there was a double stack on one of them, and he dies. Let's watch another one. I'm going to leave all this in. This happens all the time. Like, I can't tell you. I've been farming Sharon nonstop the past 3 days because the Halloween buff is so good. By the way, the Halloween buff is so good, you should be farming Sharon. That's why I'm making this guide now. And I don't think I've ever lost more than twice. And now in 3 battles, we've already lost twice. And I usually do 8 battles. I've never gone worse than 6 and 2. But it's just, this is the magic of Etheria Restart. Once you sit down to actually watch, you're going to fail. That's how it works, right? So yeah, rough going from Diting again there. They stripped off everything and they stripped off the immunity. It's just a lot of moments, you know? That's all we can really say. Here comes Sharon. She's going to come and hit hard. All right, we're good there. The immunity's held up. Nothing had been stripped off. Now Diting should get some big hits, but only about half health on Sharon. Unless we get unlucky here with all the dispels again, though, we should be fine. It really is just, we just need Diting and Lily to make it to the finish line. Once you're at this level, one more Diting ult and we got it. I really hope this shows you how that looks, because that is the standard run. The way this has gone so far, this is what I would consider typical. I'd say the first one was very unlucky. The second one was very lucky. The third one was just, that's how it normally gets messed up. It's just some bad luck on Diting, but not huge, normal, crazy bad luck. But then this is how it works, right? So Lily goes there, she advances the action. Now Diting is one turn away from his ult. So if he can just take one more turn, which he will now, because he's got the shield and he's got the health, not too many dots, we're in fine shape. So Lily goes there, Diting follows up, now Diting goes, and now you win, right? And that's how it goes. So that's how it normally looks when we go 8-0 or 7-1. I'll do one more with you just so we can see, and I'll finish signing off. Let me know if you like this style where it's just a little more loose and free. Frankly, I just figure a lot of people probably have already solved Sharon, but I don't want to be that account that hasn't shared my solution and tried to help people. That's why I make my content. So I was like, let's get the Sharon guide done. I will tell you though, I beat Sharon about 3 weeks ago, and I've just been sitting here because I've been dreading making this video because I just don't like this content. I mean, look again, Sharon, the RNG on Diting, he got stripped of the Rimebloom, the increased attack, and the immunity. And it's just, unless we have protected immunity, which I'm almost 100% sure we do not have in this game, that nothing can really be done. You know, it just is what it is, and that's crazy. The RNG restart thing, in PvP, I like it because it's PvP, but in PvE, it's just, there's so much RNG. Thankfully, they don't penalize us very much when you fail, so even if you get this to like 50%, definitely farm it. It's worth it. Supernova's so good. A lot of the stuff's really good, but then definitely Halloween after the buff is awesome. But here you go. This is, again, you're seeing it just like the one we did before. This is exactly how it's supposed to go. Yeah, we have our unlucky moments, but because we're resetting so much at the beginning with our Fuqiu and our Ninfoniel, it takes a lot to go wrong typically for the run to fall apart. And as you can see here, this is Diting's last action before his next ult. We're going to be good to go again. So there you have it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'd love to know if you need any more help below. I really would like to help you so you can be done with this and never have to deal with it again. There we go. Diting, thank you. Good to go, guys. I'll also say, if you're curious, if you want, I can make a follow-up video. Once my Lily, and really most importantly, Ninfoniel is 6 stars, this thing's done, dude. Or if we pull an extra copy of Diting, then it's going to be 90+% and can just relax and just set it and forget it forever. But for now, while I'm still a little bit on the struggle bus with my typical farm, I figure I would share it with you guys so at least you can get it done and make a lot of progress, because this is a piece of content you're going to want to be farming. Frankly, even the Golden Line's getting a little play nowadays in PvP. You can throw this on a Viper and get like a half DPS Viper. Very good. Supernova is absolutely phenomenal. And then the Halloween, if you don't know the buff, they're not showing it here, but when it's awakened, so once it's 40 and you put 4 more dupes into it, this goes up to a 100% chance every 30 turns to reduce the cooldown of one random skill. There's a lot of really cool ways to control this. It is really strong. It is so good. You're going to want a few copies. Thank you. I've been Fastidious. If you're not yet playing Etheria Restart, use my link in the description in the top pinned comment. Share it with your mother, and I'll see you real soon. Bye.
Fastidious.